At Forever Paws Animal Shelter, our mission is simple: place these valued animals in loving homes. Forever Paws Animal Shelter, giving animals a new leash on life.
Hey y'all, it's a shitpost weekend on Channel 2.
First thing I do when I'm back on top, I get that sound, man.
Here's another article that I thought was interesting. It's in the San Francisco Chronicle, and it's kind of long, so you should read it to get the whole gist of it. But they kind of go into a lot of, they start out kind of highlighting a lot of different California guitar makers, such as Santa Cruz, Fender, National, Taylor, Blackbird Guitars also, which is the one they eventually kind of zero in on. But as you can see from the title of this, California guitar makers are going green. They eventually get to the point about 20 paragraphs in when they start talking about Blackbird Guitars. And I thought this was kind of interesting because this is not something that's necessarily new, but it is something that is new, I think, in the US, or relatively new. But they start talking about this company Blackbird Guitars and their small factory in San Francisco. And they get off into the subject of flax, which is a flowering plant from which we get linen, and we get linseed oil, we get linoleum. They use seeds in bread and things like this. This company is making guitars out of a composite of this material. Their early models were using carbon fiber, and they transitioned to this material they're calling EKOA, E-K-O-A, made of flax fibers and bio-based resin. This sounds very strangely familiar to me. There is a company over in Finland called Flaxwood Guitars. When I was a manager of a music store one day, one of the sales reps brought in a Flaxwood guitar, or a couple of them, and they were just really interesting, solid body, or semi-hollow body also, guitars that were made from this molded material that, and I'm not sure what flaxwood were making their stuff out of, but I have to believe it probably included some flax, and also resins and things like this. But they basically had this material that was chopped up, and I think it used like post-consumer products, some of it, maybe even some cardboard, and some woods that were kind of the leftovers, off of factory floors, I guess, or whatever, throwaway stuff probably that would have gone to landfill or would have just been used, burned or whatever before. But they were using this stuff and mixing it up and creating this substance they called flaxwood and building these guitars out of it. Basically, they were kind of injection molding these guitars or molding them in a mold. Very interesting guitars. If you ever get a chance to play one of them, I highly recommend it just because they're so kind of different. And the idea behind it is that, they're kind of a more resonant guitar even than regular woods, because you don't have any of the inconsistencies of grain and density and weight and all these things that come along with traditional wood guitars. But instead you have a very predictable final product that is impervious to humidity changes or sudden temperature changes and things like this. So it's not gonna move on you, as you travel with it, which is appealing to a lot of traveling musicians if you have to go from one climate to another, for instance. But yeah, just interesting guitars, and it's kind of the way it was described to me and made sense at the time was that you got all these different fibers and they're so microscopic and they're kind of ground up all together, and when they're molded, you've got fibers going this way and every which direction, and when it's molded, instead of wood grains that kind of go one direction, so you get more of a consistent product. And it's just interesting now that there's a second company that I know of now that's doing that, called Blackbird Guitars, and they're making them in California. So it'll be interesting to see if those take off. I know that Flaxwood guitars, from my experience, were very difficult to move. When we got them, we had to get the right musicians in, the guys that we knew personally and well, and we had to say, hey man, you need to come in and check this guitar out. And we had to personally sell these things to the guys that we knew, because they were just difficult to move otherwise. And also, when we did stock them, we stocked them on a consignment basis. So it was like, we would allow the rep to leave them there, and basically if they sold, they sold, and then we would pay them when they sold, So it wasn't like we were buying them and having to take the risk. That's probably the way that these would have to go as well if they wanted to, wider distribution. They would want to partner with salespeople and get them out there in the hands of some store managers, and so they can do the same thing, kind of call their guys and say, hey, this is something you'd be interested in, you should come in and check this out because it's different. You know, and the people who appreciate things that are different might go for something like this. But like I said, it is a tough sell. You guys know I usually don't follow all the announcements for like new gear, new guitars. I just don't, even on the news for a guitar channel, I just don't follow that kind of stuff, which is, I guess, odd. I prefer like the human stories and the human sides of things, and I don't know, like the business side of things even a little bit more sometimes. But I did think this was kind of interesting because, you know, ESP is one of those guitar companies that I have a large appreciation for ESP. At one time I was a dealer for ESP when I managed the music store. Good guitars. I mean, they just well-made guitars. Even their LTD lines, which were at the time were made in Korea, I'm not even sure where they're made now, were just a great line of guitars. Very consistent, very predictable as to, you know, how they were going to come in. Even the cheap stuff was good quality. And it was kind of a substitute for us at a time when we didn't have Fender or any of the big names in the store. We eventually did get Fender back, but at that time, ESP was a good brand to have because they kind of made the stuff that we could sell like as a bread and butter brand. But they've announced, you know, the whole new models for 2019, you know, which you're going to hear a lot about this right now because it's getting into NAMM season. You know, NAMM is in January, winter NAMM. And so you're going to start hearing rumors and people starting to introduce their product lines and stuff probably a little bit early. But, you know, just kind of scrolling through their products here, I just don't see anything that's really that far different from the stuff that we had even back then, which has been like 10 years ago. It just doesn't seem like there are a lot of differences. I do say they have a new Flying V now. I'm not sure if this is new for this year or if they've had it for a while and I just didn't notice it. They've got this guitar called an Arrow, so maybe it's an older model and I just missed it, but it's kind of interesting, I suppose. It's a different take on the Flying V. But it looks like the thing that they're kind of most proud of, the thing that they're putting right up front is a Reba Myers LTD RM600 signature model. This is a big deal for them, they're saying, because it's the first signature series guitar ever offered by ESP based on the design of a female guitar player. It does note that the company had previously done a signature bass for Doris Ye of Chthonic. I don't know how to pronounce that. You know, what do you think about this thing? I mean, it's no St. Vincent. Let's put it that way. Obviously, they're trying to restrict, you know, the design to something that is off the shelf in terms of body shape, you know, and neck shape and things like that. So they haven't gone too crazy with that. They do have this kind of finish on it that reminds me actually of a lot of old, very old, like pre-war crystalline. They call it crystalline guitar finishes from like that late 1930s, or maybe even the late 20s into the 30s. Anyway, you saw it a lot on acoustic guitars of the time, real cheap, like Regal acoustics and Regal ukuleles and things like this. You would see like this kind of crystalline look. And it looks like that's kind of what they were going for on this, but it's a matte black. And I don't know, to me it just, you know, how many more black guitars can you come out with? It just looks to me totally blah. Blah, 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 blah. And they're touting this as like a model that was designed by her. I mean, it just seems like they could have gotten a little more creative with it, or she could have gotten a little more creative with it. I mean, she's a musician, not a guitar designer, but still, you know, at the same time, you would hope that if they're going to be, if they're unveiling their first, you know, women designed guitar, maybe they would actually give her her own shape. You know what I mean? Come on, ESP, you can do better than this. Okay, so that'll do it for the news. In this next segment, we're going to do some package opening for viewer mail, and I actually opened these packages last week, so we'll check out the video of that. Alright, so let's get into some viewer mail now. As you can see, this Mesa Boogie is still taking up half of my desk. I'm not even going to bother taking this thing down. We'll just have to work around it. Satan himself. Let's check out some packages. This first package comes from Brendan O'Neill from Selbridge, Ireland. Or maybe that's Kelbridge, Ireland. I know exactly what this is. This is a pick guard for a 1960 Les Paul Classic. And if you guys have been following the channel, I got a 1960 Les Paul Classic the other day off of Craigslist. And one of the things it was missing was the pick guard. He emailed me and asked me if I wanted one off of his guitar. He wasn't using it anyway. And I said, sure, man, thank you very much. And definitely, indeed, thank you very much. I actually prefer Les Pauls with the pick guard on. I'm one of those weirdos. It says, hi Brad, please find and close the pick guard from my 94 Gold Top. Unfortunately, could not find the screws. but I'm sure you will find something that works. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Brendan. That's really incredible of you. Very, very cool. Okay, next up we have another package from Andrew Smith, who is the curator of the Flatwoods Monster Museum in West Virginia. He sent me some stuff before. You guys may have noticed a couple of the stickers that have kind of been lurking around my work area here for the past few weeks. A little while later, I was perusing Amazon Prime looking for videos to watch, and a documentary about the Flatwoods Monster came up, and Andrew was actually in the documentary, so I got to actually see what Andrew looked like. Yeah, very, very cool. And he contacted me the other day and asked me if I would like a t-shirt and some more swag from the Flatwoods Monster Museum. Wow, these are cool. These are refrigerator magnets. That's awesome. But you guys, if you have Amazon Prime, you should go check out the documentary, if nothing else. But basically, you know, everybody thinks it's probably an alien or something that crash landed in a field there in West Virginia, and this family went out to investigate and see what it was, and this giant being with glowing eyes, basically they found staring back at them, so pretty creepy stuff. And also, if you're passing through West Virginia, maybe see how far out of your way the Flatwoods Monster Museum is and go give them a visit. Beautiful country, West Virginia. I highly recommend it. If you want a really nice road trip, go to West Virginia, go do some whitewater rafting. There are a couple of rivers there that I've been down before, the New River and the Gauley River, which are incredible rivers to whitewater raft. You'll have a fantastic time. Some of the most beautiful country you will ever drive through. There's a reason why, you know, it's the subject of a John Denver song. Let's just put it that way. Beautiful country. So awesome. That's so cool. So that's to go with my patch that he already sent before. I think this is the area code. But that's awesome, man. Thank you so much. And then it looks like he sent me a t-shirt as well. So a big nice green Flatwoods Monster t-shirt in large, which is just my size. Thank you very much, Andrew. I really appreciate that. And best of luck to you. Best of luck to your museum. I hope you get at least, you know, a couple visitors as a result of all your generosity here. Okay, this next package is from Robert Chapman in Lancaster, California. So that's not the Robert Chapman you're probably thinking of, or the Rob Chapman, I suppose. This one lives in California, not the UK. Robert Chapman Incorporated Precision Metal Fabrication. I'm getting all kinds of t-shirts today. Fixed pedal boards. But he was actually sending me these Unibits, Christmas tree bits, nice ones, Irwins. Man, this is great. That's incredible. I could have really used those when we tackled this satanic thing over here. But but yeah, these are way better than the Harbor Freight ones for sure. I could just tell by the weight of these things. You know, this is something that I'll probably wear out the Harbor Freight ones and then use these as my backups, and I'll just you know, I'll just destroy those Harbor Freight ones. But that's awesome. He said he was sending these t-shirts just to package these in. So, but very, very cool. Man, he's got a couple more here. A couple more cool t-shirts. Fixed pedal boards. Kick-ass pedal boards made in the USA. Thank you very much, Robert, man. I really, really appreciate it. It looks like you have a couple different businesses here going, so best of luck. Just super nice. I'm always struck by how nice people are. This is from the fellow who owns and operates Earth 3 straps. Now, I reviewed Earth 3 straps about a year ago. The fellow who owns the trademark for Earth 3 sent me one of their straps for review, and he has said he was going to send me some stuff here, and it looks like a speaker. Okay, this is a speaker, and also he sent me some picks here as well. That's really cool. Some Earth 3 picks. For some reason, some odd, silly reason, and that's a sticker as well. Cool. I'm gonna stick that up right now. For some odd reason, I collect picks and I don't use them. You guys always see me sit down as well, and I also collect straps. But Roy says his Earth 3 endeavor is coming along pretty nicely. He's currently working with Jake E. Lee, doing a signature strap with them. He's wearing a Kamikaze signature strap.
Jake was gracious enough to wear the kamikaze straps in the videos for Bitter and for Speed Bag, which will be coming out shortly. Right now we're having this contest. We're gonna pull a name out of a hat on Christmas Eve if you subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Back in the day, Earth 3 was famous for the strap that was always worn by Stevie Ray Vaughan. He had the, you know, the big one with the white music note strap. That's an Earth 3 strap. So this fellow owns the currently owns the trademark for Earth 3 straps, and he's producing Earth 3 straps. So definitely check out Earth 3 straps if you haven't already. Cool company. Roy's a cool guy. But he sent me this is a ceiling speaker. It's actually one of those that is powered. Yeah, this is a powered, what is this, 24 volt system? Looks like. It's got a 24 volt. So I guess if I put 24 volts of power on this, I would have a self-contained little speaker system. So this might be something that we, I don't know, build in some little box or something. This, you know, this could be kind of cool. So thank you, Roy. I appreciate that, man. Alright guys, so that'll do it for this Shitpost Friday. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit subscribe down below. Also, please hit the bell to receive all notifications. Smash that like button. Go ahead, smash that like button, y'all. Guys, smash the like button. Anyway, so yeah, do all those things. And we'll see y'all later.